Kindly kindly mute yourself. Having some errors. Mr. Set, I request you to remove those students who did not join with names. This student who called it PSSS Shalom, please remove him. He's not our aspirant. Please remove him. The next one who you should remove is, I'm checking. Those students who are not our students should be removed. Yes. And please tell them in a group how to join with audio, because I can see Bidi Mustafa, Dushime Shalom, Dushime Man. Those all, they are not listening anything. Florence Shimwe, Igishaka Beatrice, Imani Shimwe Zekeri, they are not listening anything. So please talk to them.
Test. Am I audible? Am I audible, guys? Great. I wish everyone can be able to hear me, but I can see still there is some student who can't hear me. More than 10 students from Izere, Bindi Mustafa, Eugene Niwiz, Habani Mfura Job. Seth, can you please screenshot this number of students who can't hear me? Then please tell them to use to open their audio. Hence, we can start our class. Thank you.
Share.
So sorry, guys. Just a few minutes. There is some error. There is some technical errors. Just we'll update you in a few minutes. Stay online. Mr. Set, please remove the person who's called the Techno Spark 8 because he's not joining with the name. Same as to Moshi's iPhone. Please remove him. You guys, we told you that you should join with your names. Otherwise, we cannot allow anybody to attend our classes. Okay. I would like to know a person who is on YouTube and a person who is on Facebook. Kindly, can you see our images and what we are teaching clearly, or there is still some doubts or some effects? Is there still any doubts or any unclear images to the students who are joining us via Facebook Live and the students who are joining us via YouTube? Test. Seth, can you check to the Facebook and you please notify? Very good evening for each and every person. My name is Mr. Shalom, a student assistant in study in India and the CEO for Comera Business and Consulting Services Limited. I welcome you to this first PRAGATI examination class from today onwards.
Thank you.
Today, we'll be having kindly guys, kindly guys, remain muted. Okay, we are going to start our class in a few minutes, and our classes today will not be taken by me, but unfortunately we will try to make it very short as possible. Okay, you need to be like you have to focus. Okay, and you guys mute yourself. Hello guys, I recommend each and everybody to join the same link. Please log out from now, then join the same link. Or I would like to request Mr. Seth to end this meeting and join the same link directly. Kubera yuko tugiye gutangira kwakira umwarimu mushyashya nonaha, ndabasaba ko mwongera gukanda kuri link cyangwa se mukinjira kuri link mwinjiriyeho nonaha, tugiye kufunga iyi nama nonaha, then twongeye guhita duyitangira. Ndakeka birimo kumvikana. Right? Okay. Then Seth, you can end the meeting. You can end the meeting, then we start again. Thank you. Seth, are you there? Mr. Seth? All right. So can we continue for this one? All right, got it. Ndasaba buri muntu wese uri muri link cyangwa se uri hano muri iyi class gufunga amajwi cyangwa se kummutinga. Iyi class yakiri buze kugira session ebyiri. Session ya mbere ibuze kurangira mu minota 7. Nyuma y'iyo session nibwo turi buze kwakira umwarimu. Ndakekamo hano harimo abanyarwanda bonyine, and is our grateful kuba dufite abanyarwanda bonyine noneho hano bifuza kwiga. Ndasaba buri muntu wese kummutinga, otherwise turagenda tubakura muri class. Who is shouting, please? Gakwisi.
Yes.
Gakwisi Papi. Please close.
Yes.
Mute yourself, please.
Yes, I mute.
Good. Nkuko ejo twabibabwiye rero, ikizamini kizaba mu cyumweru cya kabiri cy'ukwezi kwa karindwi. Mu cyumweru cya kabiri cy'ukwezi kwa karindwi ni ikizamini kizaba kidakomeye, ariko n'ubundi ni ikizamini kizaba kitoroshye. Ntabwo nababwira ngo ni ibintu buri wese azisukira cyangwa se agenda bikore ngo bikunde. Ni ikizamini gisaba kwitonda. Ni ikizamini kizamara iminota 90, noneho kizaba gifite amanota 90 nanone. Okay. Then noneho icyo musabwa muri iki kizamini ni uko mugomba kwitegura bihagije, by'umwihariko ku bijyanye na mashini muzakenera. Mashini muzakenera igomba kuba ari mashini ifite 2GB RAM and above. Mugomba gushaka mashini ifite processeur iri hejuru ya 5. Ubwo nuvuga ngo i5 cyangwa se i7. Iyo mashini niyo mugomba gushaka. Mugomba gushaka mashini ifite kamera, kubera ko mu kizamini bazaba barimo kuba controller bakoresheje kamera. So mugomba gushaka iyo mashini. Umwaka ushize hari ubwoko bw'amamashini atararimo gukora neza, wenda seti azagenda bisobanura mu class tuzagenda tubakoresha, ariko hari ubwoko bw'amashini mugomba gushaka hakiri kare, mukitegura hakiri kare. Murabona dusigaranye hafi ibyumweru 2 cyangwa 3 byonyine, ubundi tukinjira mu kizamini. Ni ikizamini kizaba cyoroshye nuramuka warize, ariko ni ikizamini kizaba gikomeye nuramuka utarize. Amanota yo gutsinda na amanota 48 ku manota 90. Kizaba gifite parite 3. Parite ya mbere ni verbal. Iyo tuvuze ngo verbal haba harimo ibiki? Iyo tuvuze ngo verbal haba harimo icyongereza gisanzwe. Ibyo nakwita ngo icyongereza cyo kuvuga. Haba harimo gukosora interuro, gutondeka amagambo, things like that. Then hakazamo n'ikindi gice cy'imibare na physique, ariko atari physique ikomeye. Ntabwo hazazamo bino bintu bya sine, cosine, pressure nati ibyo ntabwo bizazamo. Ariko hazaba harimo numbers, lowest common factor, highest common factor, bene nk'ibyo ngibyo bizaba birimo. Ikindi kintu mugomba kumenya kizaba kiri muri iki kizamini, hazaba harimo igice cya 3 cya logic. Ni ibintu bisaba gutekereza, ugashyira mu bwenge ugatekereza, harimo nko gutondekanya udupaniye, amakarita, kureba amabara, ibintu nk'ibyo. So abenshi ndabizi yuko igice cy'imibare kigomba akenshi kiratugora. So icyo tubasaba ni iki? Dushaka no ko nibura ushaka amanota 35 mu gice cya mbere. kuko cyo kizaba gifite amanota 40. Ugize amanota 35, noneho muri pariti ikurikiyeho ukagiramo amanota 8 kuri 25, n'indi ukagiramo 8 kuri 25, uba watsinze. Ikindi tugomba kubasobanura kuri scholarship tutaratangira, nuko scholarship izakavaringa imyaka 3 gusa. Nukuvuga ngo nuba admitted muri bachelor of something, ariko iyo bachelor ikaba igizwe n'imyaka 4, study in India izakwishyurira ibintu byose uhereye ku kurya, kuryama, kwiga byose mu gihe cy'imyaka 3. Ariko umwaka wa 4 ntabwo izawishyura, uzawishyurira. Gusa kubera ko mwakoreye muri Komera Business and Consulting Services Limited, wa mwaka study in India itazishyura. Twebwe ama universities twaba applyingiyemo twamaze kugirana amasezerano yuko izabaho scholarship ya 70% kuri uwo mwaka. Nuvuga ngo amafaranga ya scholarship, amafaranga mwagakwiye kwishyura iyo university yo kwiga ntago yose muzayishyura, ahubwo muzishyura 30% gusa y'umwaka. Indi myaka yose uko ari 3 izaba yishyuwe na kaminuza. Noneho izaba yishyuwe na leta. Then noneho igihe wabaye admitted muri bachelor y'imyaka 3, ubwo nta kintu na kimwe uzishyura, kuko bachelors ziratandukanye. Hari bachelor y'imyaka 3, hari na bachelor y'imyaka 4. So nuba admitted muri bachelor y'imyaka 4, bivuga yuko hari ikintu uzishyurira mu mwaka wa 4 kingana na 30% ku mwaka umwe wonyine. Ariko nuba admitted muri bachelor y'imyaka 3, nta kintu na kimwe uzishyura. Ndakeka ibyo ngibyo byumvikanye, nta n'ikibazo mu bifiteho. Ikindi mugomba kumenya tutaratangira gukora ibingibi nuko Komera Business and Consulting Services Limited niyo company yonyine dufite ama universities afite medical courses. Dufite nursing, dufite anesthesia, dufite pharmacy, dufite amasomo menshi ajyanye n'ubuganga, kandi nayo ari kuri iyi scholarship. Ishobora kuba full funded scholarship mu gihe cy'imyaka 3, then ku mwaka wa 4 ukishyura 30%, cyangwa se ukaba selected for 3 years program, then ntugire ikintu na kimwe wishura. So tugiye kwakira mwarimu, mwongere mu joining same link kugira ngo mwarimu atangire abigishe, atangire abereke everything. Aho mugira ikibazo murajya mumbaza. Murakoze cyane, mugira ibihe byiza. Mwongere muhite mu joining same link, right? Iyi nama igiye kuba ended, muhite mwongera ku joining direct.
Kindly mute yourself, please. Mute yourself, please. Kindly mute yourself, please. Kindly mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Eugene Niyibizi, Jeanne Paul Museni Barubukeye, Kwizera Obed, Ndacyayisenga Jean d'Amour, Ndacyayisenga Jean d'Amour, Uwayesu Joyeuse. Please mumuting ama voice yanyu kuko murimo kudusakuriza.
Yes.
Sorry.
Ndimo ndasaba Jeanne Paul Museni kumutinga your voice please. Jeanne Paul Muhorakeye Berin, please mute.
Abantu barimo kudusakuriza, abantu mutafunze audio zanyu, tugiye kubakura muri class.
Great. Muratwemera twakire mwarimu wa mbere. We are going to welcome our first faculty from today's class. We request you to answer in the chat box, and if you have any doubt you can raise, then we can sort it afterwards. Thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to discuss the English section of TCS Smart All India Mock 1. The aim is basically to give you a strategy of how to answer the section and also to discuss in detail the solutions to each of the questions that have appeared on the test. Without further ado, let's get started. I am Dr. Kiran. I'm a senior expert in verbal level at Conditional Online. If you have any questions about any of these questions, you can always post them as comments below the video, and we'll be more than happy to get back to you with answers. All right, let's get into the presentation now. Okay, let's look at question 1. This is a grammar question, as you can see, and it's broken down into 4 parts, actually 5 parts. And it says, in this question, the sentence has been divided into several parts. One of these parts has an error. choose the option that has the part of the sentence with the error. So the aim is to identify that part which has the error. It's very important that you read the instructions for all the questions on verbal ability, because unlike in math or other areas, there is a whole lot of question types we have on verbal ability. So please do not ever answer a question, even if it looks familiar, without reading the instructions. Let's get started. So it says, I need a paper to write down the details that I've managed to get. 4 options, so we have to focus only on the parts the sentence is broken down into. I need a paper to write down the details that I've managed to get. So if you see, I need, I subject to the sentence, need is the verb, need agrees with.
I can see some of you have been raised the hand. Sorry for stopping. What is the issue? Jean-Baptiste and Kaitare, what is the problem?
We are not getting well. We are not hearing the words. Maybe problem is about sound.
Guys, is the teacher audible or not?
The teacher is audible.
Okay, that's all. Thank you for confirming. So we can continue, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can continue.
With I, so it doesn't seem to have an error in that part. A paper. This is where is a material noun. Just like your gold. So you cannot say I need a gold, right? There are several material nouns that do not basically. It says in this question, the sentence has been divided into several parts. One of these parts has an error. Choose the option that has the part of the sentence with the error. So the aim is to identify that part which has the error. It's very important that you read the instructions for all the questions on verbal ability, because unlike in math or other areas, there is a whole lot of question types we have on verbal ability. So please do not ever answer a question, even if it looks familiar, without reading the instructions. Let's get started. So it says, I need a paper to write down the details that I've managed to get. 4 options. So we have to focus only on the parts the sentence is broken down into. I need a paper to write down the details that I've managed to get. So if you see, I need, I subject to the sentence, need is the verb, need agrees with I. So it doesn't seem to have an error in that part. A paper. This is where we need to focus, because paper is a material noun. Just like your gold. So you cannot say I need a gold, right? There are several material nouns that do not basically have singular forms. So when you look at different material nouns, let's say copper, silver, etc. So you do not say I have a silver or I have a gold. With soap as well, but nowadays when you say a soap, it refers to a bar of soap. Some things are understood. When you say a coffee, it means a cup of coffee. That as well is understood. Like that, you cannot say a paper. You can say a sheet of paper, or you can say a piece of paper, so on. So a paper doesn't make sense, but you can say a newspaper. That's fine, because here the reference is to the set of the set of sheets that arrive as one newspaper. However, we do not have a paper because paper is a material noun. You have to use it with a unit of measurement. It can be a sheet of paper, a piece of paper, or a full set, basically, any of these things. So do not ever say a paper. You can say a sheet. I need a sheet to write the details on, right? Back to the presentation. So that part is definitely definitely erroneous. So I need a paper is incorrect. Your answer should be option B. Sorry. Your answer should be
For this first question, ku bantu batarimo kumva icyongereza neza, kwanza yabangiye ababwira yuko mugomba gusubiza ariko mubanje mwasoma amabwiriza, kuko hari hejuru bavuze ngo in this question a sentence has been divided into several parts. One of those parts has an error. Choose the option that has the part of the sentence with the error. So nuvuga ngo hano bavuze yuko interuro bayigabanyijemo ibice bifite amakosa n'ibitagira amakosa. So bakubwiye yuko uri buze gucuzinga option y'igice cy'interuro gifite amakosa. Ndakeka muri kubyumva ku bantu batari fasta ku cyongereza. Ndi kugenda ndabasemura dukeya ariko ejo ntabwo tuzasema. So noneho yarimo kuvuga ngo urabona question yarimo kuvuga ngo I need, then dash akazamo a paper, B to write down the details, C that I have managed, D to get. You understand? Ndakeka mwamaze kumva hindi yuko ibibazo bibazwa. So ibwiriza rya mbere ni uko ugomba gusoma ibwiriza ryatanzwe kuri icyo kibazo hejuru. Ubwo hano twagomba kureba igice gifite ikosa, kuko bagiye bagabanyamo ibice. Hano twagomba kuvuga ngo I need a sheet of paper, right? So iyo baza kutubwira ngo dushake sentence iri correct idafite error, twagomba guhitamo yuko turi buze gushaka ikintu kiri buze guconfirminga ko biza kuba ngo I need a sheet of paper, right? That's an example. Kuko hano baduhaye I need, then A iba a paper, to write down the details that I have managed to get, right? So dukeneye icyo turi buze gushyira kuzuzamo ahangaha mo hagati, right? So icyo dufite rero nk'ifite error nuko hano turibuze kuvuga ngo iyi ntero niza gusohoka iri error cyangwa se iri mu cyongereza kituzuye cyangwa se icyongereza gipfuye, turaba dufite ngo I need a paper to write down the details that I have managed to get. Ibyo rero ni icyongereza gipfuye. I need a paper ni icyongereza gipfuye, right?
option B. To write down the details that I've managed to get. Write down is a decent phrasal verb, the details that I've managed to get. Everything else looks okay, so your answer should be option B. Let's go forward. Let's look at the next question. Last night, the principal of the school took us to his chamber to show us the picture of the student who steals the school bell. So last night is an important indicator, if you see. This as well is a sentence, an error identification question type. So here as well, the sentence is being divided into several parts. You have to identify the part with the error. So the principal of the school took us to his chamber to show us the picture of the student who steals the school bell. See, the entire action was in the past tense. So when you have a sudden shift in tense, you have to be careful. The principal of the school took past tense us to his chamber to show us the picture of the student who steal the school bell. So this also happened in the past. So when you have two actions in the past, the action that happened earlier should usually be reported in the past tense, the past perfect tense. So you say who had stolen the school bell, because this happened even before the principal's action of taking you there, right? So when you have a verb that is in a different tense from the rest of the sentence, it basically calls for more attention. You have to make sure you haven't missed the sequence of tenses, right? So your answer should be option D here. I believe that's clear. However, there are such special cases in which you do not, there is a definite shift in verbs. It happens especially when you have things like universal truth. So you say, my teacher said that the earth revolves around the sun. It is a universal truth. You do not say the earth revolved around the sun, because even now it's revolving. So when your teacher made a statement, even when you are making the statement to someone else, it's still a continuous action. Therefore, it should be reported in the simple present because it's a universal truth. There are exceptions, but barring exceptions, usually when you have a sudden change in the tense, the sentence, the meaning of the sentence tells you that it's in the past tense. However, you have one or more verbs in the present tense, or any other tense for that matter. You have to be careful about possible errors. Let's look at the next question here. Despite a sustained and renewed efforts by the country since its independence from colonial rule, poverty is still rampant in India. So despite of is an erroneous usage. You can say in spite of, where in spite and of are three separate words, or you can simply use despite. Despite sustained and renewed efforts by the country since its independence from colonial rule, poverty is still rampant in India. Despite of is erroneous usage. You either say despite or in spite of. So there's no despite of, right? Clearly, it is option one. So there are certain connectors like these which tend to have multiple words in them, and you have to be careful about how to use them. These are called multi-word prepositions. So when you look at things like as much as, or notwithstanding, which is one word, or in as much as, so on, or by dint of, due to, etc., you have to be careful of their structure. So there's no despite of, right? It should be despite directly. Therefore, there is an error. So some errors are pretty easy. So if you ask me, this question is an easy question type if you've used despite before. But the only source of confusion here is your ability to distinguish between in spite of and despite. Let's go to the next question. Are bananas in the shop sold by kilo or by the dozen? So are, bananas is the plural, so are tells you that there is a plural word, right next to it is fine. In this shop sold by kilo or by the dozen. So you're asking a question, and there are two things here on either side of or. You have to make sure they're parallel in one way. Besides, when you use by to indicate the unit of measurement, it always takes a the, by the kilo or by the dozen. This is a slightly old-fashioned usage, but it is still considered very formal. So you should use by the kilo. You can say by the dozen, you can say by the gram, you can say by any unit for that matter, by the any unit for that matter. By can also be used with duration, with times of the day, or by the night. You can say things like owls hunt by the night, etc. By has several meanings. Prepositions are pretty versatile. So a good thing for you to do would be to prepare a list of common prepositions and look at them at dictionary entries. The dictionary gives you the entire list of uses. So if you take by, for example, you talk about you swear by someone, then you can say you live by a place, like you can say things like he lives by the seashore, so on. So you have so many uses of by, in, to, etc. Some of them slightly unconventional, slightly old-fashioned, traditional, that they've fallen out of use, but they can still appear on the tests. That's why we need by the kilo, right? Let's look at the next one. He's a smart boy, but he's not clever to solve this problem enough. If you look at the instructions, it says the sentence has a phrase or a part highlighted. Choose the most appropriate replacement for the phrase or part from the options given. So the part that's highlighted is this: not clever to solve this problem enough. So this enough is a very peculiar adverb in terms of the position that it takes. So you can say something is not enough when it is used as when it is used probably in that sense, but when in that fashion, when you talk about enough being an adverb, it always comes immediately after the adjective, not before. For example, look at this. He is very clever, but you do not say he is enough clever. You say he is clever enough. In terms of the position, enough is a pretty peculiar adverb. So you cannot say he's enough clever. You should say he's clever enough, especially as an adverb. Or he's not clever enough. So he's a smart boy, but he's not clever enough should be the right way of paraphrasing this. So let's see. Option 1 says clever not enough. That's incorrect. Not clever enough seems to be fine. Not clever enough, this problem to solve is wrong. To solve this problem is okay. Not enough clever. Enough comes before the adjective, clever. So this is one particular adverb which comes after clever. This as well makes this wrong. So your answer should be option 2. So clever, as I told you, is a peculiar adverb. While all the other adverbs which qualify adjectives come before them, it is enough has this very special property that it comes immediately after. Okay, let's go forward. There is another such adjective. I don't know if you've come across this adjective called galore. Galore means a lot. So they say there are problems galore, meaning a lot of. This is another such. This is an adjective. There are problems galore. You do not say there are galore problems. There are galore problems. Sorry, problems galore, meaning there are lots of such problems. Let's look at the next question in the set. If she knew it beforehand, she would have been more cautious. Again here, same instruction, same set of instructions. A part has been underlined. We have to identify the best replacement for it. So this is essentially, this tests your knowledge of conditionals. Whenever you have an if clause followed by a result clause, you should be able to immediately conclude that this tests your knowledge of conditionals. Let's briefly review conditionals before we look at the question. So conditionals essentially in English are of 4 kinds. We have the 0 conditional, the first, the second, and the third conditionals. However, let's not discuss the 0 conditional today. Let's discuss only the first, second, and the third because they are pretty common as questions on your campus recruitment tests. So the first conditional is something which we use day in and day out. It talks about what is likely to happen if if a result which leads to it happens. So if it rains, we will not play the match, or we shall not play the match. Look at that. If it rains, so you're talking about something that is likely to happen. All right. The second conditional is used to talk about the imaginary present. There is no equivalent in Indian languages to the imaginary present conditional, so you have to be super careful with it. In that, the if clause takes the simple past. So there are situations like, imagine, if I were in Delhi, or if it rained, which means right now it's not raining. What it means is, imagine a present in which it was raining, something like this. If I had long hair, I do not have long hair now, but I'm talking about an imaginary present, right? If I wore white, I'm not wearing white, I'm wearing black, but if I wore white, I would not be visible because the screen behind me is white. So anything that is not true in the present, but as an extrapolation, as a hypothesis, when you want to put it forward, an imaginary present, an unlikely present, we use that. Then we have the unfulfilled past. Something that never happened in the past, but you're just theorizing what would have happened if only it had happened. That is the third conditional. So this question draws your attention to the usage of the third conditional. She would have been more cautious tells you that she wasn't more cautious, that she wasn't more cautious, and she would have been more cautious means she wasn't. If only this condition had been fulfilled, this would have happened. So if she knew it beforehand should be if she had known. We use the past perfect here to talk about a past action, a past condition that was never fulfilled. So your answer is option 3. Only 3 conditionals are usually tested on the examination, so it shouldn't be a big deal for you. You can just look at the syntax of all the 3 and then get them right. Let's look at the 7th question. The woman to who I sold my house was a doctor. So you have to identify the grammatically correct one from the list here. The woman to who I sold my house was a doctor. The woman that I sell my house was a doctor. The woman to whom I sold my house was a doctor. The woman who the house I sold to was a doctor. Now look at all of these. If you are a pretty fluent speaker in English, it shouldn't be very difficult for you to identify the answer. But let's look at the rules and grammar as well. 2 is
student. Anyone can answer this question? Ikibazo cya karindwi ninde ujye kukidusubiza? Identify the grammatically correct sentence from the given choices. 1. The woman to who I sold the house was a doctor. 2. The woman that I sell my house was a doctor. 3. The woman to whom I sold my house was a doctor. 4. The woman who the house I sold it to was a doctor. Which is correct grammatically? Hafashimana Donatien said it 2. Muhorake Belize said it 2. Ndacyayisenga said 3. Ndashaka kumenya ibiri byo ni ibihe. Yes, Hafashimana Donatien, dusobanurira impamvu wahisemo 3. No, yes. Niyo byose focus. You said the 1. Why? Winnezaima 3. Why? Niye nteruro iri correct? Which is the correct sentence over here? Mr. Said, can you allow to unmute Hafashimana Donatien or Eugène Nivis or Nitanga Jean? One of them can explain why.
Hello, once again.
Yes, Hafashimana Donatien.
The reason I chose number 2 is that woman, as the sentence said, the woman that I said, the woman was said, because that's why I'm choose that woman that I said.
Okay. Jeanne Pomsen. Jeanne Pomsen, why did you choose number 3? Allow to unmute Jeanne Pomsen, please. Jeanne Pomsen, kubera iki wahisemo 3? Banyemerere bakwarowinge kuvuga maze dusobanurire. Santashe Peace, umwe muri mwebwe navugira abakobwa avuga impamvu mwahisemo 3. hano mushaka ku unmuting amaze ngadusobanurire. Anyone here want to unmute, especially girl? Yes.
Yes, hello.
Yes, Musen.
Everyone is getting me.
Yes.
I choose number 3 because the word whom indicate the whom I was saying to sell my goods.
Mm. So is number 3 grammatically correct?
What? Sorry?
Did you read the instruction? The instruction says
The
that
grammatical word, it is called whom.
you have to identify the grammatically correct sentence from the given choices. Nuvuga ngo turareba interuro yanditse neza mu buryo bwa grammaire. Peace or Santashe. Then uyu muntu witwa iPhone.
Good evening, once again.
Mumukure muri group.
Hello?
Yes, Peace. Why did you choose number 3?
The reason for my number 3 is because the woman to whom I sold my house was a doctor. So because you don't know the woman, just you know that the woman is the woman to whom I sold my house, and they are showing us that she was a doctor. And because we don't know that and we don't know the real name, we don't know him, but just they are talking about the doctor to whom I sold my house, and he passed away. That's why I chose my.
Then Santashe, why?
Okay, anyone is getting me?
Yes.
Yes, I chose number 3 because 2 is followed by whom. It cannot be followed by who.
Okay.
I guess that.
Great.
Okay.
Let's see the answers. Then we end today's class.
A preposition. After a preposition, you usually have the objective cases. So you do not say, he gave the pen to I, you say, he gave the pen to me. So after to, what you need is usually the objective case of the relative pronoun. Who is the subjective case? It acts as the subject. Whom is the objective case? And whose is the possessive or the genitive. Objective is also called the accusative, sometimes the predicative. Who is called the subjective or the nominative, and whose is the possessive. So we take the objective case here because the woman to whom I sold my house. Or when you're in doubt, try to make a sentence out of the relative clause, just the relative clause there. I sold my house to a woman. So it should be, I sold my house to him or to her, right? You do not say, I sold my house to he. Therefore, it should be, I sold my house to her. And she is a doctor. If you were to make sentences out of it, you do not say, I sold my house to she. I sold my house to her. Therefore, you need a whom there. Okay. Look at the second and the fourth one. The first one is therefore wrong. The third seems to be correct. Let's look at the second one. The woman that I sell my house was a doctor. The simple present tense tells you that it is a continuous action in a way. It happens. It's a regular action. So you don't keep selling your house every day. That rules this out. The woman who the house I sold to was a doctor is unnecessarily twisted. It basically violates the simple word order in English, the general word order followed in English. So the answer is option 3. Let's look at the 8th question. The population of New Delhi is more than other cities in India. Whenever you have comparisons, make sure what is on one side is the same in its grammatical form to the other side. So you're saying
Everyone can take a photo for this this question. When this is a homework, we'll start from question number 8 by day after tomorrow. We are ending today's class from the question number 8. We are so sorry that we have been faced with some technical issues, especially to those who are following us on Facebook Live. We are sorry and we'll be correcting the things by tomorrow. So I guess everyone has been taking the photo for the question. If there is any issue or what we can collect, please, you guys, you can inform us via our WhatsApp group. Hence, we'll be likely to talk, to rise up. Hence, we can make it clear. Anyone who did not click the photo for the question, please, you can click it. This is the homework. You have to identify the grammatically correct sentence from the given choices. The population of New Delhi is more than other cities in India. The population of New Delhi is more than that of any other city in India. The population of New Delhi is more greater than other cities in India. The population of New Delhi is much greater than those of any other city in India. Nkuko nabibabwiye rero, iki gice cya verbal ni igice kijyanye n'icyongereza. Ni igice cyoroshye abantu buzuza, witonze wacyuzuza. Mwabonye ko ibibazo bidakomeye. Iki gice nicyo gifite n'amanota menshi. Gifite amanota 40 kuri 90. Mu gihe ibindi bice bibiri bisigaye biri buze gusangira amanota 50. Pay attention kuri ibi bintu. Usiba class ni wowe uhomba. So if you know that you need a scholarship and you know what you need, don't miss our classes. Mu gitondo ntabwo turi bwige, kuko mu gitondo hariga aba masters. Ubwo mwebwe mu gitondo ni Friday, ntabwo tugomba kwiga, ahubwo Saturday ntabwo muziga, mwe muziga Sunday. For tomorrow and Saturday, you guys, you are not having class. Your class is scheduled on Sunday, the same time. Thank you for joining today's class. May God bless you. I wish you all the best. And we are still receiving the application for those who want to study in India. Please send them before 20 this month. Thank you so much. Have fun.